Okay, so there's been an update in the What the Hales case. And I know I said I was going to do a lot of videos while I'm out here on vacation, but this one's a big one, and I'm going to give you my summary of it and my prediction. So this one was filed by Bubbles, and what Bubbles is saying is that the motion to add all these defendants should be denied because it's unduly prejudicial, and it also it will cause an undue delay. And he then goes through, you can watch other channels where they're going to read it. I know Squid, at the time of doing this, I know Squid and Georgie, they're going to be reading it. So definitely go to their channel, watch them read it, because there's a lot of really interesting points in there, and a lot of things that are going to relate to what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to read it. Go to their channel, watch them read it. I'm sure Megan and Tug, they'll read it at some point. Go to their channels, watch them read it. But yeah, it says that it's unduly prejudicial and will cause an undue delay. Now, my prediction for this motion is it's going to be denied. Yeah, it's going to be denied. But I don't think it's going to be denied right away. Here's what I think. I think there potentially could be an evidentiary hearing before it gets delayed. What the judge is going to do is he's going to table the motion. He's going to keep it without ruling on it and allow things to keep going, is what I would suspect. I think ultimately it will be denied. And the reason I think it's going to be an evidentiary hearing is because we haven't had one yet. We have not gotten into any of the evidence. And that was what the magistrate was kind of, when Bruce was saying, oh, we're going to do, motion for summary judgment. The judge was like, we haven't even had an evidentiary hearing yet. Right now, it's just accusations. To get a summary judgment, the magistrate has to find that, yeah, all the evidence that you provided either doesn't support it, or I don't find it credible. Okay. Now, because of this motion that he's making, I'm thinking that the judge is probably going to say, look, I want to think about this. And we're going to have an evidentiary hearing on whether or not they should be added. And if Jeremy, because the date has passed, for anyone that he adds or attempts to add here on out, the judge is going to absolutely do an evidentiary hearing. For this one, the chances of him not asking for an evidentiary hearing are actually pretty good. But I think based off what we've seen from this judge, I think he's going to be a little bit cautious. And he's going to say, okay, I want to see this evidence. I want to let both, the evidence will be presented to the court. Both sides can give a chance to, make objections and argue about whether or not it should be admitted, all that stuff. So that's what I think is going to happen with this. Primarily because Bubbles is being requested to be added as a defendant. Now, his whole objection of saying, oh, well, he could have added us at any point during all this, really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. The undue delay of that's a reason why the judge sets that December 18th date, because before that, you can add people to, you're the plaintiff. You can say, oh, I've got other complaints against other people that are related to this. Now, if Lynette's attorney was not a part of that, I don't think there'd be any evidentiary hearing. In fact, I think for the other 5 defendants, I think it's going to be like, okay, yeah, you have the right to make your accusations. They have the right to challenge you in a court of law. I've got kids in the other room, they're playing, so a little bit loud. So yeah, you have that right to challenge people in a court of law. I don't see any reason, to keep them off at this point. Now, adding people after that December 18th, that's where the undue delay could absolutely be argued against, because you could say, well, he already had a chance to add people, and he didn't take that chance in a timely manner. You could absolutely make that argument. But for now, with this one, no, you can't really make that argument because he did it before the deadline. So all those points of an undue delay, that's not going to fly. And for prejudicial, the only thing that applies for is for Bubbles. That's the only one that applies for. So I think the judge might say, okay, the other 5 defendants, added. They're added. It's done. He has the opportunity. He can do that. For Bubbles, we're going to go through this and figure out, evidentiary issues. But now this would be to Bubbles' detriment. And this is where the other stuff that Jeremy's been talking about, where it all comes into play. Like Lynette and John filing as per se and having Bubbles had written this stuff, because Jeremy can now counter. Okay, so he's given his his objection to the motion, and if the judge does an evidentiary hearing and they say, "Oh, Your Honor, he didn't say he was their attorney from the get-go, and we had to discover that as we went, and we have evidence that we can show that he solicited," and they're going to point to Char's deposition. We have evidence that he was sending emails, and we already know that Stupid Dave was talking about that live on air. And this was all before he was officially added as her attorney to the case. So them saying, "Oh, this is prejudicial." No, this is not prejudicial. Like, he was hiding the fact that he was her attorney, and he was writing things and doing things on her behalf. So they're going to be able to counter with that right there. And the judge is going to say, okay, I got it. This is all a mess. So we're going to just add him in, and then the facts are going to decide. I'm pretty sure this is how this is going to play out. I could be wrong. And I know people are going to say, "Oh, you're effing wrong." Just how I made the other thing, the one where I said, "Okay, well, this is how I see that other motion going," and I wasn't correct because the judge said, "Yeah, it's all moot." I can be wrong sometimes, and I'm fine being wrong. But I'm talking about how the American court system works. There are people out there who are saying absolutely incorrect things about how the American court system works. And when I say wrong, I mean they are not even in the ballpark. And I'm talking, these are people, we've got the people on Lynette's side. We know they've been lying, but there's even people who are supporting Jeremy's side who are saying just things. You can tell these are people who've never once been in an American court at all, because the things they're saying, it's like, that's not true at all. So here's the thing. I'll say this. Megan's legal analysis, Megan Fox, is very good. You can tell she's written a lot about courts. When you are a journalist and you go work for a paper, there's always going to be that journalist who works who does all the court stories, or at least a bulk of them. And that's the person that if a story that another journalist has, if it ends up in court, they always go to that journalist for analysis and have them look over their writings and stuff like that. And that's because that's the person who generally, if you sit in a courtroom enough, you're going to learn how things go. And you're going to know, oh yeah, this judge tends to rule this way. Oh yeah, this lawyer likes to argue from this aspect. And, after you've been following enough American court cases for a while, and if you pay attention to people who are well-respected judicial pundits, you kind of get a feel for this stuff. So I don't think while I think it should be a knee-jerk, yep, Jeremy, you filed before the deadline, you can add all these people. And I think the 5 defendants who are not Lynette's attorney, I think they're just going to be added. I think that they're okay. Yep. You can make this case. Even with David Helm, who's MLS, Making Law Simple, I think even he's going to get added to the case. Like, no question. Like, it was before the deadline. Jeremy, he's put his complaints down. So now we'll eventually go into the factual basis of it. For Bubbles, I can see where this magistrate might say, you know what, for the best thing for all parties, because, there could be an appeal to this case. And he's always got to think about that. What is the higher court going to say about this case? So you want to slam all the doors shut as a judge, and even as an attorney. You want all this stuff having been hashed out and on the record, so that when it goes to appeal and someone says, "Oh, well, it's this," oh, no, that's a part of the record. You pull up the record. This was already argued, and this is what the judge decided. So that's how I can see this playing out. Just having, but again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just an amateur who watches court stuff, and has followed court cases for many, many years, who's sat in on many court cases, who's, sat at court all day long, just writing stories about court. And I'm not that reporter who ever was given the court stories. I was a journalism student, and I was told, no, you go to court and come back with stories, at least two, about the court cases that you watched. And, I sat there and I ended up writing 5 stories because they were all very short stories. And I've done that several times. That's where my experience comes into play. And I'm saying I could 100% be wrong, but that's how I see it. So let's see. And I don't think this evidentiary hearing is gonna happen right away. I think there's going to be some time on this one too. I think the judge is going to table this one for a little bit. He's going to want to think about this because this is a big decision for this case. So that's where I'm at. Again, you'll see less stuff from me as I go, but I will be here. And as always, thank you for being worth serving.